Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about 1 month later, evaluating the harmful impacts of Seattle's new delivery laws. So Doordash is of course not thrilled at all about the impacts to their company based on the laws set up in Seattle, but apparently it has done more damage to the Seattle gig economy than we gave it credit for. I thought it was gonna go well based on the way I was reading it, but either way, I do want to talk about what's taking place here. So with that said, I want to go over everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is for Doordash UberEats and Grubhub drivers and customers, restaurants, and the platform itself, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. In January, the city of Seattle implemented an unprecedented new law that made huge changes to the way dashing works, making it harder for a dasher to flexibly earn when and where they want. The new law requires dashers to earn at least $26.40 per hour before tips, plus additional pay for mileage far exceeding Seattle's minimum wage of $19.97. If you want to know more about the changes they made specifically, I made a video talking all about that. I will leave that in the description. Feel free to check that out. Countless community advocates, small business owners, dashers, and consumers spoke out against this untested policy while it was being considered by the city in 2022 and warned it would make delivery prohibitively expensive for thousands of residents. However, the city ignored these voices and moved forward with this new law in January. 1 month later, new data shows just how disastrous this extreme policy has been for dashers, local businesses, and everyday consumers. Now, before we go into the impacts themselves, I do want to be clear about one thing. While I do believe that the base pay does need to be higher across the board, I don't believe that the way they were handling it with an hourly wage was a proper way to go about it, at least in my opinion. But then again, all of these policy makers keep trying to fix the wrong problem. Seattle was one of the very few places to where this was actually going to go well, at least in my opinion. Now, I'm not sure if this is really the best way they wanted to go about it, but this is exactly the point of no tip, no trip to begin with. A lot of no tip customers have claimed things like,
why don't you just raise the prices and pay dashers properly?
Well, here you go. This is the exact answer. Things have gotten so expensive in Seattle to where it's unaffordable for them. And we're about to demonstrate that. Over $1 million in lost revenue for Seattle businesses. Looking at a sample of only 2 weeks after implementation of the law, Seattle businesses have already missed out on more than $1 million in revenue on the Doordash marketplace alone. At a time where local businesses are having to work harder than ever to keep their doors open. This is a major blow to local commerce in Seattle. Alexandra Serpanos, the owner of Nico's Gyros in Seattle, told Kiro 7 about the future of her restaurant. We're going to be impacted. The customers are going to be impacted. I was hoping for that to grow, and if people can't afford it, that's obviously going to impact my sales. I can't keep raising prices. There's only so much people are willing to pay. And I love how there are so many loud voices on the internet claiming
if you just raise prices and pay people properly, that would just make it easier for everyone.
Meanwhile, they're just so fucking stupid that they don't even get that it would actually push people away. And then you wonder why we don't want to serve those people, because they're so stupid that you don't want to work with them. Now, is there also a point to where these companies need to stop appeasing no-tip customers? I mean, sure, but nevertheless, this is a major issue across the board for everybody. Unprecedented drop in order volume. Over just 2 weeks since the pay regulations launched, consumers have placed 30,000 fewer orders on the Doordash marketplace, and we expect this volume loss to compound even more over time. Seattle businesses are now grappling with the significant decline in revenue and lost exposure to new customers. Let the record show that not only this was coming at a time at the beginning of the year where order volume was going to be down to begin with, but even with the tax returns coming in and everything else, they are not willing to order on DoorDash. You see, that's the most profitable point for DoorDash. It wasn't when COVID hit and everyone was locked in their houses. It's when people were getting the stimulus checks, people were getting tax returns. So people had money to spend on all of these companies. And what happened? They ended up gaining more orders because of that, because people had money to spend. And now there are 30,000 fewer orders on the DoorDash marketplace, which I am actually a little surprised about, because 30,000 orders on the DoorDash marketplace lost for over $1 million in revenue. That's insane. Think about that for a second. That's an average of $33 to $34 per order, which is actually pretty close to accurate. Dashers are receiving fewer offers. Due to the drop in order volume and the restrictive policies on how Dashers access offers through the platform, Dashers are now having to wait an average of 3 times longer in between offers. Longer wait times means fewer dashes and fewer opportunities for thousands of Dashers across Seattle. In a recent news report, a Seattle Dasher said, "It's hurting us, it's hurting the consumer, it's going to close restaurants. Please repeal it." Now here's the thing, a lot of people expected these policies between New York City and Seattle to do really well for them, but that didn't happen here. This completely ruined the entire system. Now granted, they didn't make a post like this on the DoorDash newsroom for New York City, but they were quick to do that with Seattle. Is it because this is a little bit more positive for gig workers that way? I don't know. But that said, it could also be because DoorDash is probably much bigger in New York City, period. And a lot of Dashers have just switched to Jersey City after that. Imagine that. They all just commuted to Jersey City or just left DoorDash entirely. The path forward. Dashers, merchants, and consumers have made their voices heard. This untested extreme policy is simply not working. We hope the newly elected city council will come back to the table and make things right. We're committed to working with lawmakers to find a practical solution that empowers local commerce, restores access to crucial delivery services, and helps Dashers continue to earn on their own schedules. Let's be honest, that's all political bullshit. They're really only looking out for themselves at the end of the day, not really looking out for gig workers. But then again, policymakers are not looking out for gig workers either. So this is all just a bunch of nonsense. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I doubt that this policy is going to be repealed, especially with the Seattle mayor standing strongly in support of new gig worker wage law while these tech companies are pushing back. So I don't think anything is realistically going to change. Now, that also said, this is coming from DoorDash, a company that has been screwing over drivers the whole time anyway, and is really only looking out for themselves. Do I believe that any political leadership is looking out for us anyway? No, but we all know that when billionaires lose money, they're going to cry about it like children. But a lot of drivers are definitely saying it's backfiring. Whether or not it's actually accurate is a different conversation. I have yet to hear from a Seattle Dasher period on the subject. But if anybody would love to say something, I would love to hear about it. But what I'm also hearing is that there was never an update on the DoorDash experience in New York City that was in regards to the impacts that were made over there. Nothing changed in that area. There was no, 1 month later or any sort of reevaluation of how things were going. It was just an acceptance that, hey, DoorDash is just going to have to accept that New York City is just not for gig workers anymore. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think that drivers should lose out on opportunities simply because the people that are making the policies are targeting the wrong problems. But I also don't think the way DoorDash has been doing things should go unchecked anyway. I think we need to find a way to prove the right points, you know? All in all, I hope things get better for Seattle Dashers. I thought that this was going to be better for drivers, to be honest with you, but I guess I was wrong there too. And to those of you who do live in Seattle, good luck. I really hope things become better for all gig workers involved. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.